Hello, and today we're going to be playing NeveN. We're going to be playing a new chapter now. This will be chapter 7, and Akhet will be the first character to get a new update for chapter 7. It's with a sigh that I descend the stairs leading to the courtyard. Akhet decided to try and get some more rest, but I was determined to see Simi. It was a difficult morning, more so for the bird than for me. I think my poor darling spent a good part of the night awake. Between the news of the arrival of his former tormentor and that of the imprisonment of the lady in waiting, yesterday was not an easy day for him. Not that I had a great time either. I just hope the whole imprisonment thing is a mistake. I refuse to believe that Simi could have provoked an attack. It's where I get to the heart of the castle's central courtyard that I suddenly realize there's a major problem. I haven't the slightest idea where the dungeons are, and whether that's where she's locked up. It's not particularly the sort of place I used to hang around. So it's probably in one of the areas of the castle I haven't searched, which limits the possibilities. So while letting my paws guide me, I prick up my ears to try and find my way around. After all, according to the stories, I should be able to hear the screams and wails of despair from the prisoners, shouldn't I? It is, however, an entirely different kind of voice that I end up hearing after rounding the corner of a wall, voices that are much more familiar to me. Tonight, please, don't make a scene. A scene? Come on, that's not my style. I was just trying to visit an old friend. I was curious to come across the prince and the ambassador chatting in a relatively discreet corner of the corridor, but not enough to escape the gigantic ears sticking out of my head. These big things have to serve some purpose. It's the prince who notices me first, running his hand over his face when he sees me. This day is... What are you doing here, Eric? Good morning to you too, my prince. I'm looking for the dungeons. I heard that Simi had been in prison, so I wanted to pay her a visit. You too? There, you see, the royal lady in waiting simply has too many friends. I understand you're worried about her, I really do, and I wish our situation were different too. But in your case, he turned to glance briefly at Tanak, who just mouths water. I know perfectly well what you're trying to do. I don't see what, but that doesn't change the facts. Simi is accused of a serious crime, that of treason against the kingdom. This action is therefore punishable by death. Is it that serious? The attack on the convoy can provoke a war between your two nations, in addition, of course, to the murders of various Maccadian envoys. I have to admit, though, that I find it hard to believe Simi was responsible for something. Me too. I know she hates the Maccadians, but she managed to forgive Akhet. Look, it's just a long sigh escapes from the bear's lips. The situation is complex, much more than it first appears. The evidence is hard to deny, and Simi herself has confessed. Whether we think she's guilty or not is of little immediate importance. We have to do things by the book, especially now. You have to keep the troops in line, don't you? The nobles are getting restless. Is this because of what happened at the arena? I know not everyone was happy about what you did. Despite the backlash, I'm still convinced it was the right thing to do. He more than deserved his fate. Oh, I won't hold that against you. From the little I've heard about the Lord Boyas, we all benefited from him no longer being of this world. I don't know. I understand the need to punish him, but it was perhaps a bit excessive to straight up kill him, wasn't it? That's not the point. And this time I will do things as planned, and as the king's demanded. Which means that neither of you can visit Simi. You and the family is denied access. In that case, I suppose there's nothing we can do about it. The ambassador was exaggeratedly with a sigh before starting to walk away. What a pity, but I'm glad to see that you delightful fellows seem to agree with me on the true status of our mutual friend's guilt. Although I can't help wondering, if Simi didn't organize this ambush, who could have planted the evidence in her bedroom? After all, not many people have access to the ward quarters where her room is. With a final smile, he disappears behind the corner of the wall. Simi lives in the ward quarters. She's lost lady in waiting. Her room is next to his. The Tanaka's right, isn't he? I wish I could tell you it was that simple, but sadly it isn't. Even if there is limited access, the fact remains that a relatively large number of people can visit the warrior quarters. Servants, couriers, ambassadors, friends, family, council members? Council members as well, yes. If you like, I could poke around a bit and try to. No, let me handle that. Your talents lie elsewhere. I swear, it's not entirely wrong, I suppose, but still unpleasant. I don't like the idea of Simi being locked up and not being able to do anything about it. As a matter of fact, you might be able to do me a favor in that respect. Really? Rowan, I doubt he's taking the news very well. Could you pay him a visit, just to make sure everything's alright and he's not going to try anything irresponsible? Are you worried he might try to help her escape? I doubt it will come to that. Which is a definitive no. I suppose I could always go and have a look, although I don't know how much the sight of the most charming rabbit in the kingdom is going to cheer him up in such a situation. Either way, it won't do her any harm. I offer Mabel a brief smile as he tries to return it, but I can see that his heart isn't in it. I can understand it. He's probably known Simi for a good part of his life. The situation is likely to be worse for him than it is for me. And I already don't find it very pleasant. Any idea where he might be? The training grounds. That's usually where he is at this time of day. Understood. I'll go and see what he's up to. I nod at Melbourne and start to walk away before I hear the bear's voice echoing again. Eric, thank you. I'm just doing my job. Yep, just doing my job. The fact that it allows me to focus on someone else so I don't have to think too much about how I feel about myself is just a bonus. Finding Rowan is proving even easier than I thought. Once I get near the training grounds, all I have to do is follow the sounds of something banging on wood. And eventually I come across the leopard practicing his swordsmanship while a training dummy. Well, practicing might not be the right word, come to think of it. Slaughtering the poor bundle of wood and straw would be closer to the mark. I don't know what it did to deserve this, but I'd like you to fill me in. I appreciate it if I could avoid the same fate. Eric, what are you doing here? I'm glad to see you too, Rowan. That's not why I just didn't expect to see you around. That's all. In fact, I wasn't expecting to see anyone. It's usually empty at this hour. I wanted to have a chat with you and was told you'd probably be here. It's as simple as that. A chat? I heard about Simi. I just wanted to make sure everything was alright. To make sure everything's alright, of course it's alright. Why wouldn't it be? I got nothing to complain about. He punctuates each of his sentences with a swing of his sword until his blade locks into the wood of the dummy. Indeed, you seem as calm and cheerful as ever. That dummy really deserved this. What do you want from me, Eric? I'm not in the mood for banter. Hey, I could do more than banter, you know? I told you, I just wanted to make sure you're doing good. No, of course I'm not doing good. They won't even let me see her. In fact, no one can see her. Mala is worried sick. The rest of the ferry are nowhere to be found, and the captain has ordered me to stay here until I calm down, which, as you can see, is working extraordinarily well. He kicks the dummy before dislodging his weapon with a sharp jerk and alongside. Right now, it's probably the best thing to do. I know there are people working to prove he's innocent, and they'll find something. Thinks he's innocent? Don't you? I don't know. She certainly has the means to organize this kind of attack if she really wants to. Besides, she hates the Acadians enough to justify it. I just can't imagine Semi organizing it. That's all. It doesn't feel like her. Well, that's probably what would surprise me least. The old lady's got a few tricks up her sleeve. It wouldn't be the first time she's pulled a stunt like this. Even she's leaving the field operations to her sons nowadays to take care of palace business. She's been an agent of the kingdom for a long time, both in Akhet and in Phosphane. Believe me, she's not someone you want to work against you. She's not someone you'd want to work against you. He chuckles briefly, a dry laugh, with no real joy in it. I still seen it coming. I suppose maybe I could have done something to stop it, or no. He gives me a surprised look, mainly because I don't think she's guilty. I understand you've known her longer than I have. You've made it perfectly clear that she's capable of such a thing. But she's also smart enough to know the consequences it could have for Phosphane, and I don't think she'd take that kind of risk. But even if it was her, even if she had committed the most horrible of crimes, just because you are part of her family or because you love her doesn't mean it was up to you to stop her or to feel guilty about it. It's not exactly the same, but my father left when I was 2. He just got up one day, collected all his stuff and took off, never to come back. I have no memory of him. Not that I want anyway. He can fuck off as far as he can for all I care. But for my grandfather, it was something else. For years he felt guilty for not seeing it coming, for not being able to stop his son, for not being able to guess what was going to happen. Nothing good came of it in the end, mainly arguments between him and me on the issue. We're not responsible for the actions of those we love. We can't guess what they're thinking or what they're doing behind closed doors. A silence follows as I move to sit on a bench not far away. I didn't really want to discuss any of this, but I hope it was a good thing I did. Or at least I hope it has an effect on Rowan. The latter seems to brood for a moment before putting his weapon back in its scabbard. He then sits down next to me, losing his gaze in the distance for a moment before looking at me out of the corner of his eye. You know you're not as stupid as you look. I've been hearing that a lot lately, so I'll start worrying about the impression I'm making. I'm pretty sure that's part of your charm. On a more serious note, I know the situation can be frustrating for the moment. It's best to try and keep a cool head. I know. He seems calmer, but his paw won't start hitting the ground rhythmically. I'm afraid he'll start flailing against the dummy again as I'm gone. He needed distraction, something to take his mind off things. Hey, Akhet and I were planning to go to a tavern in the city this afternoon. They got a stage and we thought it could be great to give them a little show, a song or two. Would you like to come along? Oh, I wouldn't want to intrude on your little couple's date. I'm sure that won't be a problem. Besides, I'm never really alone when I wander around the city, am I? If we're going to have a bodyguard, might as well know where he is. That's one way to look at it, I suppose, but maybe you're right. I need to see Mala first anyway, then I'll think about it. Is she alright? As well as can be expected, considering her grandmother's in prison. I can imagine, but if you want to join us, we'll be waiting for you near the entrance to the castle. All you have to do is come with us. I give him a big grin before jumping into my paws. Now, if you don't mind, as my plans for the morning have been forcefully changed, I'm heading to the kitchen to get something to eat. I'm sure Akhet will appreciate being able to eat in privacy. Breakfast in bed, huh? Well, I didn't take you for the romantic type. That's your mistake, my dear. I want you to know that every moment spent with me is a delight and that I am nothing but tenderness and affection. You know that speech doesn't work nearly as well as it should, considering I saw you grabbing his ass in the street just 2 days ago. I tenderly grabbed his ass. I offer a wing to Rowan, who laughs more frankly this time. Good. Even if I didn't manage to see Simi. At least I'll have achieved that today. I saved a few more pleasantries with the panther before finally fetching something to feed Akhet and myself. Oh, you see he's coming? Not really, but I think so. He's clearly needed a breather. When I saw him in the morning, I hope you don't mind. Oh, no. I mean, I was hoping it could be the two of us, but I understand, and I'd rather try to help Rowan if I can. We'll have our moment together, I promise. I move forward to rest my forehead against his, gently rubbing my muzzle against his beak. You're really cute, you know that? Rowan, glad you chose to join us after all. Molly's going to spend the rest of the day at her mom's to see exactly what they're playing next, so I had a choice between staying at home and brooding or ruining a date with two boys. That was a quick choice. No, you're not ruining anything. Really? Then what are we waiting for? I've been promised singing and drinking. His smile is a little too big, to be honest, and his demeanor is a little too playful, but I doubt that pointing it out to him is really a good idea. He needs a distraction, so I tend to give it to him. We venture out into the streets, this time accompanied directly by our guard, which is a bit strange, I have to admit. I know we've always had someone to watch over us and intervene if necessary, but I couldn't ignore him until now. Here that's impossible. Rowan isn't here to watch over us, though, at least not tonight, but he's still a guard Frostfang. I wonder if that means he technically must avoid drinking. I also wonder what impression it gives, seeing the two royal bards accompanied in such a way when they're simply going out in town. I hope it doesn't make people think we don't trust them. Social relations within the court are really a much more complicated knot to untie than I thought. So where exactly are we going? We want to go back to the tavern that welcomed us last time. The one where I had to put that other idiot to sleep. And let's not forget the masterful slap delivered by Akhet. I'd rather forget about that incident. I lost my temper. I should never have done something so inappropriate. Inappropriate, perhaps, but well deserved. I've been dreaming about it for a while, you know? And Akhet turns away again, but I can't help noticing a slight look of pride on his face. Looks like my beautiful birdie is glad he got to do it, after all. As we make our way down the streets of the town, I'm amazed once again to see that despite everything that's happened to me, Frostfang hasn't changed. The locals are still out on the streets living their usual lives, going to work, shopping for food. Of course, they don't know about the avatars and anything to do with them. I can only wonder if things would change if everyone knew about them. Or if, for the people, everything will always be the same. You're pensive. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say something? Not really, just seemed to be lost in thought. I must have a lot. It looks like quite a maze in this little head. Ha ha ha. It turns out that sometimes you and I have to think about what I'm doing. Well, you can actually have a thought. Rowan! It's just a joke. You can survive it, I'm sure. Did I really bring you here to make fun of me? I should have invited Savannah instead. Sorry, I'll try not to make too much fun of you, I promise. Have you ever heard us sing? Rowan? I can't. Sweetheart, one day I'll have to teach you how to simply change the subject you're discussing. Well, I was there for the festival. Impressive performance. Thank you. Thank you very much. But I meant it in a slightly less performative contest, like what we're going to do tonight, something smaller just for the fun of it. I don't think I had that pleasure, but it can't be much different, can it? Let's say it includes less of balancing on floating planes, but more of me actually singing. It really wasn't the best of my ideas. But it worked. That's the most important thing. What was it that bad? I hate heights. We were barely 2 meters off the ground. That's not the. But yes, what we're going to do tonight is a bit different. It's just that I wouldn't want you to be disappointed when you see the difference. Like anyone would be disappointed to hear me sing. I feel very bad about making his head swell more than it already has, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. What you've shown so far is proof enough of both your talents. I can almost feel the red rising to my cheeks, for I know I'm good at what I do. It's always nice to hear it coming from someone else. Eventually, we reached the tavern, which is more crowded than last time. That's fortunate. While I wouldn't necessarily have minded singing just for Rowan and the tavern keeper, I still prefer it when my performances have an audience. Still, we find a table to sit at, and it only takes a few moments for the snow leopard to flash us a big smile. First round's on me. There's something I want you to try. He then disappears, presumably to fetch our drinks. He seems to be in a good mood considering the situation. Probably a bit too much so. Do you think he's faking it? I think he's exaggerating at the very least, so we don't worry about him. Can't really blame him. I'm not sure how I'd react if someone in my family found themselves locked up like that. If it was your father, I think you could allow yourself to jump with joy. Anyway, we've been through this. You're allowed to speak badly of him. He was clearly an asshole, so he doesn't deserve my sympathy. He's still my father, though. I was just bored into a domestic dispute because you look like you've had quite an argument. The Panther places 3 glasses on the table, the contents of which I immediately recognize. Is he a snow leopard? It's just a painful subject, but we can leave that aside. I thought you wanted to surprise us, but we've had mulled wine before, you know? Oh, but certainly not like the one I'm about to present to you. I'm planning to add a little surprise. He dips his hand into one of the many leather pouches he wears on his belt before activating his brand. When he spreads his fingers, I can see 3 small bright yellow spheres on his palm, which he shakes gently. Do you really expect me to eat some weird thing you just pulled out of your pocket without having any idea what it is? Absolutely yes. Akhet, you've seen more than I have. Do you have any idea what it is? I don't know. I say it comes from Kazal. We don't really have such colorful food in Akhet. Can you at least tell us what it is? Let's spoil the surprise? Nah. But indeed, this lovely little berry comes from Kazal, and I promise it's not dangerous. Trust me on that. Not without some caution, I take hold of one of the berries and inspect it from every angle, finding nothing particularly strange about it, apart from its color. Akhet does the same, which makes Rowan smile even wider. Perfect, now bite into this and wait a bit before drinking. I guarantee you will be surprised. And he throws it in the air, before catching it with a quick movement of his paw. After a brief moment's hesitation, I finally swear before biting into the fruit itself, only to regret it immediately. It feels like hundreds of bees are suddenly in my mouth, waving all their wings at once. While not exactly painful, the sensation is not the most pleasant. Shit, what the fuck is this? Oh my gods. Owen bursts out laughing at our reactions. Oh, you should see your face by Mariani. How can you like that? It's not the berry itself you have to enjoy, it's what it does to your tongue. I thought it's worth going through that, whatever the mysterious properties of this food. Oh, it's also possible that I enhanced the taste of the berries when I grew them. I can't resist. He laughs again as I look up at the ceiling. At least he's having fun, I guess. But seriously, you should try a drink now. It must have had time to kick in. I can only give him a weary look as he grabs his own glass. Despite everything, I finally give in and have a sip of my own. I doubt much will change anyway. It's not like a little berry is going to. Oh, whoa. How is that possible? Not a clue. All I know is that it was impressive, isn't it? It tastes totally different. I don't feel like I've got wine in my glass at all. It's hard to explain exactly. It's much fruitier and refreshing. The fact that it's warm is almost a downside. The fact that it's warm is almost a downside now. How about you when it's unique? I wasn't expecting that. I love this thing. It's not necessarily easy to get hold of, but it's always worth letting people discover it. It smells gradually fading. Siri didn't like it when I gave her a taste. I thought she was going to strangle me. Hey, we're gonna find a way to get her out of this, okay? I told you, I don't believe for a moment she's guilty. I doubt it too. Letting Siri's no savage who kills for no reason. Anyway, that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to take your mind off things, and for that, we need another round. I get up to get us a refill. We continued drinking and chatting for a couple of hours, but however, our glasses emptied much less quickly than the first. After all, we're not here to end up completely drunk. And then after night has fallen and the tavern keeper has lit the candles with his brand, I finally stand up again, reaching out to Akhet. Shall we begin what we came for? With pleasure. I flashed Rowan a brief smile as the falcon grabs my hand. You just sit back and enjoy the show. I'll do my best. We then make our way to the stage in the back corner of the establishment. I wait for the tavern keeper to go first so we'll be able to do what we want. So I bow to our audience, and I can hear a few of them whispering. So far, it's been to be expected. It's only natural that they recognize me now, but now it's time to make the most of it. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to this charming establishment. After the festivities of the last few days, my partner and I were in the mood for a bit of peace and quiet. Unfortunately for us, we are artists at heart and can't resist the allure of a stage. Luckily for you, we are now going to offer you a song. A few light laughs echo around the room. I also still know how to make an impression. I'm Eric and my resistance Akhet. We're the royal bards of phosphate, and what you're about to hear is our very first original composition. So this is the story of a princess trapped in the cold snow until a brave bard came to rescue her. I bow and take the opportunity to discreetly take a long breath. Romance has never really been my forte, but it's the only thing that inspires me at the moment. As the cat's notes began to echo around the room, I lift my head to start singing. In a castle lost in the dead of winter, lived a princess, beautiful and fair-eyed, trapped by ice and cold winds that pinned her. She dreamt of true love and green springs deep inside. Oh, sweet princess, your heart beats beneath a white cloak of cold. A brave bard soon with seats will cover you as is foretold. Through the woods, through the deep snow, the bard walked, braving the storm. What he would face, he didn't know, but thanks to love, kept his heart warm. He found the bell in her tower, eyes shining with 1,000 hopes. Together with their voice, their power, made the snow melt, breaking her ropes. Returning to the kingdom under blue skies, the princess and the bard, in deep love they trove, and they married to everyone's surprise. Their hearts were ever bound in a tale of love they wove, and under the stars together they danced, with a bond unbreakable and a love so entranced. Far from the snow and the cold they dreamed, under summer skies where their love gleamed. When the song ends, I let Akhet play the last few notes before moving towards him to rest my forehead and his gently rubbing my muzzle against his beak. If he hadn't been particularly appreciative of this reinterpretation of our meeting at first, mainly because, as I promised him I turned him into a princess, I think he ended up liking it. I must confess, so did I. We turned a bow to the audience, who applauded politely. It's not exactly the kind of performance that provokes shouts of joy, but I can see here and there a few couples like looking tenderly at each other. I say it's a success. After a final bow, we make our way downstage to Rowan, who greets us with a fond smile. I know I'm repeating myself, but you're really cute. Oh, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the song because I'm not absolutely sure I've mastered all the chords yet. Don't worry, it was perfect. It's a story of how you met, isn't it? That being said, it's not exactly how I remember you telling it. Artistic freedom, my dear. You have to make reality more interesting. He really insisted on it being about a princess. I just hope that one day we get to do a performance where you're in a costume, that's all. Eric, he's blushing like never before, but he's not saying no. I'd better remember that because there's something to exploit there. Others take our place on stage in the meantime, and the evening resumes, leaving us to enjoy the varied quality of performances offered by the establishment. We do have to leave after a while, though, mainly because the songs are getting increasingly saucy and the drinks increasingly copious. For once, I'm not necessarily in the mood for that sort of party. Not to mention that I'm not sure Akhet would survive it. The night streets are quieter than I would have expected for the capital. We just finished 3 days of partying, so I suppose even the townsfolk need a rest. The place is plunged into relative darkness, lit only by a few torches hanging from the walls. It's a little worrying, to be totally honest. There's a sense of dereliction about it. Never been out on the streets at night? Why, you don't look particularly reassured. Akhet squeezes my hand between his talons, making me smile slightly. There were usually people when I went out. Your little tavern is charming, but this isn't exactly the most popular part of town. The closer we get to the castle, the more people there will be. Now, if you want to see some really, really scary parts of the city, I can guide you to. No, thank you. That's very kind of you, but I can do without that. They hear a cat stifle a giggle, while Rowan looks all proud of himself. I don't know when or how, but I'll find a way to make you pay for it, Mr. Bodyguard. Our march is halted, however, by a figure that stands in our way. I'm assuming to slide down the wall for one of the routes. And for a brief moment, I think I have Sibby in front of me. Same long ears, same hood, except this one is pulled over his head. Rowan's reaction, however, quickly informs me of my mistake. Odu? This is the valley, quickly. What? But who? Eric, I can't. Do as he says. The Panther's tone is totally different. All trace of jest has disappeared. I have never heard him so serious. I also noticed that one of his hands is now resting on the hilt of his weapon, the other close to the pouches of his belt. Shit, this is a joke. We're being pushed towards a street off to the side, the walls of which are getting closer and closer, leaving only a small alley where even I feel cramped. Rowan, what's going on? Who's that? Oda is one of the agents in charge of your surveillance. One of the agents? There's more than one? You didn't seriously think that only one person was in charge of your security, did you? What's the matter? You're being followed. Followed by whom? Not by someone, by something. I don't know what it is exactly this thing is really good at hiding. All knows that it's big and damn fast. I've never seen anything jump from one roof to another so swiftly. It's the alleyways. Do you think it's too big to get in here? Probably. Probably. How could it be so big that it can't follow us in here? And why would anything want to follow us? Eric, I turn around to see a cat looking at me with a terrified expression. So instinctively, I tighten my fingers around his. It'll be alright. I've seen Rowan fight. A bunch of times. He'll be able to defend us. I know how to fight as well now. I turn my head to give him a reassuring smile, as reassuring as a smile as I can. You think this might have something to do with what you told me yesterday? Well, I said to him yesterday, we talked about a lot of things. Oh, of course, the avatars. But I don't know. I don't see what that would have to do with anything here. I don't think if you do know something, and the information you could give us would be more than helpful. The kings have asked me to remain silent. Who do you think I work for? I suppose I could tell you, but I don't think there's any connection. And even if there was, it wouldn't help us. Well, I don't think it would help us. Even if it was an avatar that started us, we would know anything. We don't know anything about the abilities, powers, or limitations. The information would be useless. I hope you're right. At least you're proving that you can keep your mouth shut if necessary. We continue to make our way through the alleyways as quickly as we can. I keep glancing up to see if I can catch a glimpse of anything. But all I see is a saddle jumping from rooftop to rooftop. I can see others doing the same thing from time to time. Every glance is sharp and quick, and the tension is more than palpable. In fact, I can feel myself shaking slightly. Like that. I hope I never have to feel like this again, vulnerable and hunted. I pull on Akhet's arm to draw him closer to me. If I focus on helping him, I don't have to think about myself. Hopefully that'll be enough to calm me down a bit. I hope so. Eventually we stop, but I haven't the faintest idea where I am. In fact, I feel like I've been walking around these alleys for hours. Oda lifts his head again, watching the rooftops intently. I haven't seen anything in a while, woman. I thought I saw something in the first few streets, but since then, nothing. That's a good thing, isn't it? It means we've lost him. Not necessarily. It could also mean that he's hidden somewhere, ready to ambush us. But time is on our side. What do you mean? I sent a request for help before joining you. Reinforcements are on their way. We just have to not get caught until they arrive. It only takes a moment to think before straightening up to observe the walls. I'll go and have a look. You stay here and catch your breath. If the way is clear, we'll go back to the main road to meet the others. It's too dangerous. A creature could see you and strike. It's not the only one who knows how to disappear when necessary. As for you, Rowan, I leave you in charge. You obey him at all times, and regular your brands. Be ready for battle just in case. If you see anything other than me approaching, no hesitation, you attack. Without giving us time to respond, he approaches a wall and begins to climb it much faster than I would have thought possible, slipping his sturdy fingers into every crevice he can find. Rowan, stop him. It's too dangerous. It's our job. He knows what he's doing, and he understands the risk. Don't worry about him. But he's right about one thing. You should awaken your brand, especially yours, Eric. Their ability to immobilize their enemy on sight is more than valuable. I probably won't be able to do that. If the creature is as big as he implies, I got a weight limit I can't exceed. But we might as well not take a risk, right? It's just a precaution. It's just a cat, his shoulder glistening slightly from his awakened brand. He's right, of course, but more than that, his eyes are pleading me, so I smile at him as much as I'm able before I start singing. And under the stars, together they dance, with a bond unbreakable in a love so entranced. Far from the snow and the cold they dreamed. Under summer skies where their love gleamed. The warmth spreading down my back confirms that my brand is well and truly awake. Akhet lets out a soft sigh as I move forward to take him in my arms. It'll be fine. With a bit of luck, we'll find out it's just a bear or something, like the cat from yesterday. The cat? Something silly happened. We frightened ourselves in the castle gardens last night, convinced we were being chased before we realized it was just a cat. Inside the castle walls? Yes. Is that a problem? Probably not. No, just a strange coincidence, I suppose. You don't sound convinced. I just don't like coincidences. It usually means that there's something else lurking underneath. I assure you, it was just a cat. I believe you, don't worry. I'm about to reply when a brief but violent pain grips my head. It disappears almost as quickly as it arrived. What the? This I'm about to mention what just happened. I see something massive heading for Rowan's head. The impact is so swift and violent that I have no chance to react. The leopard's head is torn off by impact, sprays of blood flying in all directions. I can only watch his face, showing a mixture of surprise and incomprehension, as if he hadn't yet realized his own death. My gaze then falls on the thing that struck him, and quickly I see that it is, in fact, part of something much larger. It is a gigantic paw with long, sharp claws. I lift my head, my eyes following the long, excessively long arm to which it is attached until I see its owner. Up there on the rooftops, a shape looms in the darkness of the night. My blood freezes in my veins at the sight of it. I can't manage to see the details to identify what this thing looks like exactly. My gaze is plunged to its eyes. Huge yellow eyes staring back at me, predatory eyes, hungry, but satisfied that they've found what they're looking for. Quiet, me. I let out a shriek of terror as the claws start swinging again, this time towards my own head. I believe you, don't worry. What was that? A vision? But I didn't use my power, plus my gaze lands on Rowan. No time to think. Rowan, lie down. What? Now! The pain in my voice seems to be having its effect. The leopard throws himself to the ground as quickly as he can, but it's still not fast enough. Rowan lets out a cry of pain. The creature's claws slide down his back and slice through the warrior's armor as if it were mere parchment. I don't have time to feel bad. It's horrible, but better than what happened in my vision. I can't get down. But Rowan, that thing is still here. I throw myself to the ground as a strange sense of relief washes over me when I see the bird do the same. I think we're out of range for now. As I take a moment to try and calm my breathing, I see my paws trembling on the pavement. And I dare not look up. I dare not risk meeting those eyes again. Rowan, is everything all right? I'll survive. And you? Fine. Eric? Yeah, I'm okay. A growl echoes through the alleyway as I feel the paw flail fiercely above me and another shudder runs through me. We're trapped. Stay down. The absolute calm in Odo's voice reassures me slightly. I don't know where he is, but the way he's talking suggests he's in full control of the situation. I try to look up, not enough to risk meeting the gaze of the thing attacking us, but I can still see its paw trying to reach us. Something thin and fluid cuts through the air, the plant itself, and the outstretched arm of the creature sinking deep into its white fur. Seconds later, dozens of spikes made of water shoot out from the point of impact, then a howl of pain echoes through the highways. I don't know who Odo is exactly, but he knows how to use his brand. The monster quickly retreats back to the roofs, making the sound of a wounded animal. Now move, step in my direction. I get in my paws, but ignore Odo's orders ahead for Rowan instead. I am delighted to see Akhet do the same. But I stop when I see the wound on his back. It's nasty. The claws have left 3 long wounds in the leopard's back, from which blood drips. I can see a faint green glow running along the lacerations. It looks like Rowan has already put his brand to work to heal himself. Shit, Rowan. I know I probably lost my chances for the next beauty contest, but there's something more urgent. Help me up. We got to move. Akhet and I lift the warrior, supporting him as we head in the direction of Odo's voice. I think I know what this is. What? How? Any info's good to take right now? A grunt of pain escapes Rowan's lips as I can see the flash of his back slowly closing in on itself. My father took me to an arena fight during a trip to the capital to make things more interesting. They modified some beasts with a brand of Moriani. It was a massacre. The slaves didn't stand a chance. I hope you're wrong. Because if this thing really was created and sent by Akhet, it can only mean one thing. It's a declaration of war, isn't it? Less than Aeon can't just stand by and watch. That's the most likely scenario. I've come to the same conclusion. Odo seems to appear out of nowhere in front of us before stepping in to take a look at Rowan's wound. How long before you can be useful again? Healing is not my area of expertise, and I can't see the wound. It might take a while. So combat is out of the question. I doubt I could defeat a creature like that on my own. And you are not prepared for this sort of confrontation. You just be in the way. I brought an answer before I said Akhet. He's staring up at the rooftops, his face paler than I've ever seen it. Tears are running down his cheeks. He's absolutely terrified, and so am I. My legs are shaking like never before, and I'm unable to move or speak. That brief moment of realization was enough for my instincts to take over completely. I'm nothing more than prey, frightened, waiting for a predator to devour me. Stop it. Move, Eric. He didn't spend a month training to stand still in a dangerous situation. So move. 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 I finally regained control of my limbs. And I'm taking the opportunity to hug Akhet. It'll be alright. But Rowan is back. It's nothing serious, is it? In 5 minutes, yeah. I'm as fresh as a daisy. There, you see? I'm scared. Me too, believe me. I'm terrified. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? If you're scared, it means you're still alive. And that you intend to keep on being alive. It can give us the strength to fight when we need to, if necessary. I promise I won't let anything happen to you. I don't want you to get hurt either. Then all we have to do is protect each other. You watch my back and I'll watch yours. I lean down to rest my forehead against his, hoping to calm my nerves as much as the birds. I'm sorry to have to cut this short, but if you're getting calmer, we'll have to move. I thought it was better to wait. If our idea is right, the situation is different. The beast wouldn't be here without its handlers, and they can't guide it, so staying here is too dangerous. We have to. Odu. Gerlach comes out of the alley, adjacent to ours, panting as he approaches us. He clearly ran all the way here from the castle. Captain. Odu suddenly springs to his paws, and I can see Rowan try to do the same, before letting out a grunt of pain and dropping to the ground. Rowan, what happened? Oh, you know, the usual. Nice little evening in town. Akkadian monster on the rooftops. A Akkadian monster. Odu, report. We think it's an arena beast, currently on the rooftops. It appears too large to enter these alleyways. But it is fast, powerful, and its claws seem capable of slicing through our armor. From what I've seen, it seems to be after the royal bars specifically. If I may speculate, a Akkadian capture team is probably there for the bearer of the brand NeveN. The captain finally turns to me, looking at me up and down with his good eye. Are you two alright? Terrified, but we're fine. As if to punctuate my sentence of how pain comes from somewhere high above. Not right next to us, but far too close for my liking. I managed to injure the animal, but if its trainer is here, he probably won't have too much trouble treating its wounds. And given what we've just heard, I imagine it's already being done. Alright, I was able to get a head start, but the others shouldn't be too far behind. There's no point in hunting here anymore. We should go back to the street to a place where I'll have room to fight. Fight? Want to face that thing? You saw what it did to Rowan. This isn't the first arena beast I've killed. At last time, I didn't have one of Frostface's best fighters with me. Give me 10 minutes, and you'll get another one. No, I'm going to need you to accompany them to the troops coming from the castle. Then you'll guide them back here. But Captain, that's an order, Rowan. Understood, Captain. The bitterness in the warrior's voice is clear. I imagine he doesn't often get to actually fight alongside Gilead, not to mention that it means he's leaving them behind. That can't feel great. Eric, Akhet, I'm going to need you to listen to me. From now on, whatever happens, and I really mean no matter what, your objective is to join our troops. If for any reason we find ourselves unable to move to follow you or to fight, you'll leave us behind and move forward. Is that understood? Well, no, that's out of the question. We can't just. Yes, you can. You can and you must. We can look after ourselves. Our first priority is your safety. Nothing else matters. I know it's not easy, but you should also know that it will make it easier for us. If we know we don't have to worry about you, we can focus on the enemy. I hate this order. I really hate it. Eric, if it helps them, and you know perfectly well that we both be useless if we had a fight, I know, fine. But if one of you dies, I swear I'll find a way to use my brand to bring you back so I can kick your ass myself. And that goes for you too, Odu. The defendant gives me a brief look of astonishment before chuckling. Yeah, I can see why my mother likes you now. Brother, who's? Oh, I guess I should have known. He's one of Semi's sons. Captain, I saw movement on the rooftops. In that case, there's no time to lose. We're going back to the street. We're going back to the central street. Once there, you run in the direction of the castle. Older, do you think you'll be able to knock that animal off the roof? Once I know exactly where it is, no problem. Perfect. Break it down to my level, then carry on attacking from the distance. I'll keep him busy. Will there be people in the street? Possibly, but it's a risk we'll have to take. We'll order them to flee if necessary. The beast is after you, so it should ignore them. Possible should a risk will have to take. There's no certainty about anything. But I suppose given the situation, that's all we can hope for. I hate this. It makes me feel powerless all over again. Isn't that what my brand still has changed? The brand of the God of Time, tremendous power, and I'm useless because the enemy is a little too big. Well, Joe, nothing's really changed after all. There's no time to lose. Let's get on with it. We then move with quick steps towards what I assume is the exit from the network of narrow alleys guided by Gillian. As we approach the main avenue, quiet as terror erupt. It only lasts a moment before a deep silence falls on the city. Faster. We make a run for it. A metallic smell then reaches my nostrils, completely overwhelming everything else. A smell a little too familiar for my taste. The smell of blood, lots of it. I squeeze the cat's hand, pulling him with me as I quicken my pace. The falcon follows me without saying anything, and I don't dare look at him. I'm not sure I could go on if I saw how terrified he was. When we finally reach the main street, it is plunged into darkness. The torches that used to light it seems to have disappeared. But there's something. A dozen corpses are spread on the pavement. Broken bones, disemboweled bodies torn apart. Blood and viscera everywhere. It's an indiscriminate massacre. A sickening noise resounds beside me. A cat has just emptied his stomach, and I'm about to do the same. This isn't the first time I've seen dead people far from it, but I've never seen anything so brutal. So vicious. It's here. Get out here, now. There's a roar above us, so I instinctively lift my head. A gigantic shadowy shape sits perfectly still on one of the roofs, and in the heart of this enormous swell of darkness, two yellow eyes stare back at me. Terror strikes me again, preventing me from moving. What's the point? I could never escape this creature, this predator. Might as well get it over with quickly. Come on. Owen pulls me up and snaps me out of my trance. My legs take over, and I start running as fast as I can. I don't want to spend a second longer than necessary near that thing. Over the roof. I hear a growing pain, followed by a loud thud. The beast has jumped off the roof. If I see it again, I know it won't be able to move. And this time I'm not sure I'll be able to leave this place alive. Oh no, you bastard, it's me you're interested in. The sound still against flesh reaches my ears, followed by a roar that shakes me to the bone. Don't stop. Run, faster, further. Gillant knows what he's doing, and Odu's here to help him. You don't have to worry about them. Not now. Once you're safe. My legs are starting to burn as I find it harder and harder to catch my breath, but I'm not going to stop. I force myself to go on, clasping Akhet's hand in time. Clasping Akhet's hand in mine as much to give me courage as to pull him with me as far away from what wild beast as possible. Here, they come. A dozen castle guards, armed in full armor, are advancing in our direction. The reinforcements promised by Gillant, they're here at last, and we're not too far from the battle yet, so they'll be able to stop them. The three of us come to a halt, panting and exhausted from all the running. Rowan wastes no time, however, and starts to explain the situation as quick as possible. The captain has find the enemy. There are 3 streets down to the southeast is a Mechanian winged beast that's really fast and dangerous. The leader of the guard signals to his squad, and half of them leave immediately to join Gillant and Odu. There are also dead civilians, potentially some injured as well. I haven't had time to check. If you have healers, have them ready to add as soon as the fighting is over. Would you like an escort back to the castle? No, give me a minute to catch my breath, and we'll join them. The captain should be done with the bastard by then, but in the worst case we can help finish him off. There's no doubt in the leper's voice. I don't think he even manages to entertain the idea that Gillant might lose. Wish I could be as certain as he is. I've seen what that thing can do. Even if I don't know how it happened, it looked like one of the visitors that appears to me after I've used my brand. Except my brand wasn't even activated, just awakened. I definitely had to tell Vo about this. It helped me save Rowan, so if it can save other lives, I must learn to master this new power. What about the royal bards? Are we going back to the castle? No, I know that's what the captain advised, but I doubt it's a good idea. We don't know that creature is the only one, especially if you stay with us. There's safety in numbers. If the fight isn't over by the time we get there, you'll stay behind us. Above all, don't interfere. Want us to go back there? I don't want to risk sending you back to the castle without enough troops to protect you, if need be. What's more, there's probably no more danger there. The captain's probably finished by now. Do you have that much confidence in his abilities? I know the captain. He won't lose. Even that bastard Tanat couldn't defeat him, despite the power's brand. But Tanat wasn't trying to kill him. I can't say that. I can't undermine his morale. I'd rather stay with you. I don't care where we go. I don't want to be unprotected. I suppose I have no choice, but let us rest for a moment. Of course, 2 minutes, no more. He sets away to speak in more detail with the officer. For my part, I dropped to the ground, sitting on the side of the street, too tired, scared, and nervous to worry about what's on the ground. Akhet does the same, settling right against me. Sorry, and no need to apologize. I'm certainly not going. No need to apologize. I'm certainly not going to complain about having you pressed up against me. Not about that. Akhet is probably behind all this. You're not responsible for the nation's actions, Akhet. This is not your fault. I know that, but I'm also the one who made sure we got out today. This never would have happened if... Hey, I came up with the idea, alright? Nobody forced me to go out, and none of us could have foreseen any of this. Don't feel guilty about things you have no control over. Yes, I'm sorry. I just hope everyone's alright. And all those people. I know. Rowan clears his throat as he looks at us. It's better not to think about it. I know it's horrible, but right now it's best to focus on the situation. The dead don't need our help anymore. Have you been able to catch your breath? As much as possible, given the situation. Let's get moving quickly, but without running. Let's start we get to our pause and resume our trek towards the city. No one speaks during this short journey. It takes to reach the place where we left Gillant and Odu. no one has anything more to say. As we approach, I realize an obvious problem. There's no sound reaching us, no fighting, no guards talking about winning the battle, just absolute silence. The others seem to have noticed too. We're walking faster, and the expressions are getting sterner. For the first time since the evening began, the mask falls from Rowan's face. I can see genuine concern in his eyes. When we arrive at the scene of the fight, it's easy to see that something has changed. There are many more corpses on the ground, and the beast has disappeared. The guards sent in as reinforcements are sprawled among the civilians, their armor battered and torn by the power of the animal's claws. In the animal's claws and fangs, blood is everywhere, the air reeking with its stench. The stones of the walls and the floors are scarred by the creature's powerful claw strikes. But the beast itself was no longer there. Captain, Odu. I stand frozen by the sight as Rowan moves forward in search of his companions, but the other guards approach as well. Some of their bodies on the ground are still moving. They are not all dead, so the healer who was with us immediately goes to work, his blood glowing green as he tends to the wounded. I say finally emerges from the saddles, moving away from the wall it was leaning against. It is Odu, covered in blood and holding his side. The fabric of his clothes is torn, and blood drips from a wound I can't see. It's gone. We couldn't. He collapses to the ground in mid-sentence, and two Africans rush to his aid. Eric, what happened? How could they lose? I don't know. I really don't know. I can't. And a distressed cry echoes from the other end of the street, and it takes me a moment to recognize the voice. It's Rowan. Gillant, a healer, here, quickly. Someone who knows how to cure a wound without using their fucking brain. I don't even think about it. My legs are killing me, making me move in the direction of his voice. I find the leopard kneeling in front of Gillant's body, his broken longsword beside him. The armor plate on his torso is sweated with claw marks, revealing deep gashes in his torso. Rowan rummaged through his pockets before activating his brand. He then grows gigantic leaves in his hands before pressing them against the captain's wounds. Come on, Captain. Stay with me. And look at him. Before staring at Gillant's chest, the panther is breathing more and more slowly as he is bleeding to death. And finally, a guard with a satchel on his hip passes us, the healer no doubt. Mackenzie wanders around us, observing the massacre that has taken place here. How is a simple beast capable of this? We continue. Hello everyone. We hope you enjoyed this chapter. If you want more information about NeveN, feel free to follow us on Twitter. We also have a Discord allowing you to chat among community members. Finally, if you would like to support our project, we also have a Patreon that offers you a series of benefits, such as bills 2 weeks in advance, but also unique stories about the characters of NeveN. If you like the VN, please also feel free to rate us on itch.io. It would help us a lot. Once again, a big thanks to all of you, and see you soon. So we got to see. This is the first time we get to see some. Well, we don't. There's no images of it, but we also get to experience violence in the city. So Gillant was injured in this attack. Numerous civilians were injured or killed, and many of the guards that were sent to deal with the monster, many of them were injured and killed also. So this monster was sent by Akhet, and they're looking for Eric, who has the brand of time. He's very valuable. So I don't know if this was sent by the leadership of Akhet itself, or if this was sent by, some people who may not be associated with the government there in Akhet, or with the leadership, or with the higher ranking people there, but maybe just some people who are not affiliated with the government at all, but are interested in Eric and his power. But if it is through the leadership there in Makeda, this is a declaration of war because they decided to set this beast to attack the city and to get Eric. And the person controlling this monster is somewhere in the city. And plus, with this being Makedian action, once they get back to the castle, I'm afraid that the kings might try to imprison Akhet, because they could possibly think that maybe he had something to do with this, which he didn't. And Akhet said himself that he was worried that he might be to blame since it came from his country. I hope that doesn't happen to Akhet, because that's what's been on my mind for a while, even before Akhet mentioned that concern he had. Since the attack started, that's what I thought could have happened. So I really want to see what happens next, but that won't happen for the next 4 months. So yeah. Well, thank y'all very much for watching. Goodbye.